On July 6, 2017, Japanese fighter Kazushi Sakuraba was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Although he fought only 2 fights in the UFC, his total contribution to the entire development of MMA, and especially to his country, was simply immeasurable. Sakuraba single-handedly challenged the powerful Gracie clan, for which he later received the nickname Gracie Hunter. In this video, we will recall the series of events surrounding this legendary confrontation. Kazushi had been wrestling since the age of 15 and took second place in the Japanese championships. At university, he trained with some of the best wrestlers in the country and proved himself among them. After graduation, Kazushi planned to become a wrestling coach, but one childhood dream changed his plans. He switched to pro wrestling to follow the footsteps of Satoru Sayama, known as Tiger Mask. During Kazushi's participation in pro wrestling, he met Billy Robinson, who opened the world of catch wrestling to him. Kazushi was not the most successful or famous pro wrestler, but while his mentor Takada was in the limelight, Sakuraba was improving his wrestling skills. In 1996, Sakuraba fought for the first time in a fight without rules. His rival was the notorious Kimo Leopoldo. In this fight, Kimo used an arm triangle at 5 minutes and won, but many did not accept the outcome of the fight, believing that the fight was staged. Then Kazushi fought in a 4-man UFC tournament in Japan, which he won. After this, he signed up for Pride, where he stayed for many years.
What he feels is his redemption, a chance to finish the match.
In Pride 2, he won using an armbar against Vernon White, and then in a stubborn confrontation between 2 first-class grapplers, he managed to finish off the Canadian Carlos Newton.
Oh no! Carlos Newton has tapped out. Kazushi Sakuraba has...
In April 1999, at the Pride 5 tournament, Kazushi had to face the phenomenon from Brazil, Vitor Belfort, who had appeared before in the UFC, and then, having received a better offer, came to Japan. The beginning of the fight became very difficult for Kazushi, as Belfort brought down a whole flurry of punches. But Sakuraba had one feature that even Rickson Gracie spoke about. That is his calmness and cold-bloodedness, even in the most extreme situations. He transferred Vitor to the floor and then began to throw powerful blows at the young Brazilian.
She's holding that leg up and just cracking that kick. But it's weird because I don't think Sakuraba is letting him do that. Look at that leg. He's taking a pounding. What is he going to do? What's he going to... Stop, kick, down. Coming in, trying to really take Vitor Belfort out of this, remember.
In this fight, Sakuraba outplayed the young Belfort and took the victory. Although according to the Brazilian, his arm was broken during the first round, which affected the outcome. Either way, this does not affect the merits of Sakuraba, who removed Belfort from his path, and then defeating 2 more opponents using the armbar, he went after the Gracie family. In November 1999, at the Pride 8 tournament, Sakuraba's first fight against the Gracie family took place. His rival was Royler Gracie, the brother of Rickson and Royce. He was 29 pounds lighter than Sakuraba, but despite this, he was considered the favorite, since by that time the aura of the Gracie family was at its peak. Royler was a 4-time world champion in jiu-jitsu and was considered one of the most technical fighters in the family. Moving Sakuraba to the ground turned out to be a big problem for Royler, as Kazushi was not so easily brought down to the ground position. Kazushi here throws a hard high kick, but does not score a knockout. Hoyler eventually manages to pull Kazushi to the canvas, but Sakuraba uses a kimura, causing the referee to stop the fight. This infuriated the Gracie corner, in which they did not agree with the stoppage, appealing to the referee that Hoyler did not want to give up, as there was only a little time left until the end of the round. Kazushi expected resistance in case of his victory, and so taking the microphone, he challenged Rickson Gracie to a fight. Rickson did not accept the challenge, stating that Sakuraba behaved like a coward and he was disappointed in him, since the larger Japanese did not dare fight his brother on the ground. In 2000, the Pride organizers held the first Grand Prix, and for this tournament they invited the best MMA fighters of that time. They were able to attract Royce Gracie to this tournament, who, after a draw against Ken Shamrock, had left professional fighting for 5 years. According to the results of draw, Royce and Sakuraba ended up in the same part of the tournament bracket, and their fight was separated by only one victory each. Gracie then won his fight against Nobuhiko Takada by the decision of the judges without any problems. Takada spent almost the entire fight in the guard position against Royce, but did not derive any benefits from this. Sakuraba's rival was Guy Mezger, whom the Japanese literally dragged out of his hospital bed, since for the last 4 months he had been treated for kidney problems and was out of shape. Kazushi had to defeat Guy, who had a big name but was in poor physical condition. Despite this, he held out for 15 minutes, which was a very respectable showing under any conditions. Metzger put up a worthy resistance, not yielding to the Japanese fighter. After 15 minutes of the fight, the judges, seeing a draw, demanded one more round to determine the outcome. Mezger's coach, Ken Shamrock, caused a scandal by stopping the fight, stating that the extra round was not in the original agreement. In protest, he removed Mezger from the fight, although Mezger wanted to continue. Kazushi, due to Mezger's actions, went on to the next tournament and paired against Royce Gracie. Sakuraba and Royce's encounter has become an immortal classic and considered one of the greatest fights in MMA history. The battle was fought according to special rules that Gracie insisted upon. There was no time limit, with an infinite number of 15-minute rounds, and so that Royce did not repeat the fate of his brother Hoyler. The referee had no right to interfere in the fight, only stopping the fight in case of submission or surrender. Royce started the fight very aggressively, trying to get the Japanese on the canvas, but Sakuraba got to his feet every time and defended well. At the same time, Kazushi's behavior was calm and almost relaxed, as if he were not fighting one of the best fighters of that time. In the second round, Royce pulled Sakuraba into a corner, and Sakuraba performed a couple of humorous motions that the local audience liked, pulling Gracie's gi over his head and then trying to pull down his pants, mocking the UFC champion. In the fifth round, Kazushi increased his pace for Royce, and the fight was becoming more and more difficult. For Royce, the decision to fight in a gi was a failure, since Sakuraba was able to even turn this aspect to his advantage and used Gracie's clothes against himself. In the break, after the sixth round, Gracie refused to continue, and the stadium exploded with applause. At that moment, Sakuraba became a national hero, who, in front of all of Japan, fought for an hour and a half with one of the best fighters of that era, and managed to accomplish the seemingly impossible. Sakuraba showed the Gracie family that he could win a confrontation according to their own rules. Royce was defeated, and Kazushi found his reward. But this evening was a special performance for Sakuraba. Despite the 1.5-hour fight against Gracie, the same evening, he went into a second fight against Igor Vovchanchin. Igor was one of the toughest punchers in the history of Pride and was 44 pounds heavier than Sakuraba. Igor had already defeated Gary Goodridge that evening. Kazushi put up a serious defense against Igor and even held a takedown, but he did not have enough stamina to defeat his opponent. After the round, Sakuraba decided not to push his limits anymore and stopped the fight. For the Japanese public, Kazushi Sakuraba, who that evening spent almost 2 hours fighting, became a real national idol for many years. Three months after the fight with Hoist and earning the nickname the Gracie Hunter, Sakuraba faced off against another member of the Gracie family, Henzo.
I can't, up until now, this fight, this Pride has been an awful.
Henzo began the fight very aggressively by pulling the Japanese into a guard. But as soon as he was on his back, Sakuraba responded with his signature kicks to the legs.
Henzo was chopping away at Sack. Now Sack, he drills the up kick. He didn't drill it. Sack with another good kick to the leg. Another hard kick to Henzo.
This is a strategy. Take the fighter down, back up.
Oh, cartwheel! Almost got the leg. Henzo pushed up.
In the second half of the second round, Henzo managed to get the back of Sakuraba. But Sakuraba performed a Kimura, and Gracie's arm was broken after landing on the canvas. We must pay tribute to the courage of Henzo, who was not going to give up. But the referee saw what happened and stopped the fight, giving Sakuraba his third victory over the Gracie family.
Many people make excuses when they lose. I have only one. He was better than me tonight. I wish him all the best. And the only gift that I can give to him is say that he's the Japanese version of the Gracie family.
The same evening when Sakuraba finished Henzo, in Henzo's corner was his brother Hyan Gracie, who is known for his hot temper, cocky disposition, and problems with the law. Hyan announced that he wanted to fight Sakuraba at the Pride 12 tournament, which was called Cold Fury. Sakuraba went hunting again. Hyan, unlike Henzo, was not inferior to the Japanese in size, and was even more aggressive.
Over Hoyler Gracie. Unbelievable. Run of 10 minutes. And walked right into the fight, and that's a good thing. Oh, nice left hand by Sakuraba. Ian shooting it hard. Ian Gracie got here 2 weeks ago. Oh, nice takedown there by Ian Gracie. Gets the back of Sakuraba, but doesn't want any of that.
In the middle of the round, Kazushi was close to finishing the fight by performing a guillotine choke, but Hyan endured it.
Told him, I am not ready for the fight. Yeah, but you know what? Sakuraba's just going to go for the Kimura if he goes for the takedown. Not a good position for Hyan. Oh, it's the submission. I hope he doesn't hurt. Still to Sakuraba. Sakuraba's been able to neutralize him and kind of control the match. But he's got a trick up sleeve. Maybe he's got his things. Go for Toho. Spanking him. Unbelievable.
As a result of the meeting, Kazushi won a landslide victory by unanimous decision and recorded his fourth victory over the Gracie family, becoming a real nightmare for their reputation as an invincible clan. The confrontation between Gracie and Sakuraba laid silent for a long 7 years. Kazushi during this time fought with some of the best fighters of Pride, and Hoist Gracie had only 4 fights and won only once. In 2007, Kazushi Sakuraba and Hoist Gracie had a rematch. Although both fighters were far from their best condition, Royce was 41 and Sakuraba was 38, but considering all the damage that he took in his career, he felt much older. The fight, which lasted the full distance, Royce won by unanimous decision, and finally, a Gracie managed to take revenge on the Japanese fighter. But after the fight, Royce failed a drug test and received a 1-year suspension, as well as a fine of $2,500. Curiously, this fight's status did not change based on the failed test, as it usually would have. Three years later, Kazushi met with a fighter from the next generation of the Gracie clan, Halleck Gracie, at Dream 14. Halleck was the son of UFC founder Ryan Gracie and the nephew of Royce Gracie. He was the 5th family member who decided to fight Sakuraba. The fight lasted all 3 rounds, and Kazushi lost to the younger Gracie by unanimous decision. But it should be noted that Sakuraba's condition was already deteriorated, although he gave a good fight to Halleck. The victory was the final point in Sakuraba's long and exciting confrontation against the Gracie clan. The Japanese fighter became a true legend in the Pride and all of MMA. And during his career, he beat 5 UFC champions and 4 of the best Gracies of that generation. Please press the thumbs up if you liked this video. Leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time.